So yeah, I want to get into some of the American Indian tribes because I found a lot of interesting, weird stuff. So the Choctaw, the Comanches, the Navajo, and then there's a tribe in the Manta, which is from Peru. So they all have these similar stories of these large, 10-foot tall, warlike, cannibalistic. They describe them as being very rich. They have these like giants that like take over. They said that they had like technology. They were like into like mining and digging. They had all this stuff. They were like said that they were richer than anybody that they had ever, any white man, and they said that they were taller than any white man. And it also like in each one of these stories from each one of these cultures, they were all destroyed, completely wiped out because of like their behavior, their pride, their like sexual appetites. The description that creeps me out the most.
What do you mean they're wiped out?
It said each one of these cultures, like they have like a story about how they were wiped out, how like the Great Spirit took them out because of like what they were doing, but like that they were like all white. One of the descriptions is super weird. So like the Manta tribe. So this is from a website called Ancient Origins. This is the Manta tribe. This guy, I'm gonna try to not mess up his name. Pedro Cesar de Leon in 1553 wrote the Chronicles of Peru, and he talked about how these guys showed up. And it said they arrived on the coast in boats made of reeds, as big as large ships, a party of men of such size as that from the knee downwards their height was as great as the entire height of an ordinary man, that thought to be, though they might be of good stature, their limbs were all in proportions to the deformed size of their bodies, and it was a monstrous thing to see their heads with hair reaching to their shoulders, and their eyes were as large as small plates. So like
there's some big eyes.
Just
Big eyes,
like horrifying, and like a lot of them talked about them having like extra large heads and stuff like that.
Does that mean I'm a Nephilim?
Yes.
I have a massive head.
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
maybe you might be a Nephilim. I don't know. I hope not.
It's possible.
It is possible. I mean, Margaret has red hair.
Yeah.
Are they?
Whoa.
If there was Nephilim in like Sweden and like Ireland, and
Well, we were talking about
England,
Norse mythology a minute ago.
then maybe it's way back in my bloodline. That'd be creepy.
I feel like every weird topic we end up on eventually reaches Norse mythology.
Can I mention one thing I forgot to mention?
Please.
Okay, so the word Jotun, it doesn't mean giant. It means like devourer. And if you remember, like in that passage from Enoch, and then also in the passage from Numbers, they describe giants as like devouring the land. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting connection if there is one. So
That is interesting.
No, it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, in all these different cultures, they were all cannibalistic. They all ate people. There's one more tribe. So this one, the Paiutes? I think that's how you say it. I don't know. So the Paiutes had an oral tradition that they told of these red-haired, white cannibals that were 10 feet tall. Kind of just sounds like all the rest of them. And they were known to live in the Lovelock Cave in Nevada. And when they found, it was like an oral tradition, like passed down. And this is actually where I heard that, like, when they found the bodies, that there were still bodies with like red hair. I think it was like 1883 they started finding some stuff like that. But like they said that over time they probably had dark hair and it just turned red, because apparently you can do that. But like when this cave was discovered, there was like tons of like human bones, and like the marrow of the bones was just removed, and so like suggested that this was cannibalistic. Someone tried to say, oh well, this could have just been a random tribe, blah blah blah, but like it just matches all the rest of these other like Native Americans that are from all over the place, even Peru. So there's that. I tried to find stuff on the Sky People and I couldn't.
yeah, only from the Chuck Missler episode. So.
That's it.
Are you gonna talk about the stories from them? I only remember one, like off the top of my head.
Oh yeah,
from
throw a
Native
story at
American.
us.
I can't remember which tribe it was, but there's a story of this like 10-foot giant that was just massive, like running, but like running faster than like all the animals, and it wanted energy, so it just picked a buffalo up and ripped it in half and like started like eating it while it was running. A buffalo.
That's intense.
That is
Yeah.
very intense.
You heard that right?
I have heard that. I think that was from the Chuck Missler one too.
Yeah.
That was the.
I heard it from something else.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, there's the Wild Bill story. The Wild Bill story of the giant, which you talked about last time. But, yeah, if you actually look back, I started looking through, like, different, like, trying to find, like, if there's any art or any, like, some, like, reliefs and stuff. Anytime they find ones that are, like, Nephilim or giants, a lot of times they're holding an animal. Like an animal, I think, to, like, signify. Yeah, that. How big they were. There was one that was like holding a lion. I think it's like Gilgamesh, the like relief of Gilgamesh. He's like holding a lion, like it's like a teddy bear. So like, I think it's
cute.
like just like it kind of just relates to that story. Just like
Yeah.
picking up a buffalo and like,
It's like, I need energy.
I'm pretty sure that's where Buffalo Wild Wings got the idea. Anyway,
That is for sure.
I think so.
I heard that.
Anyway,
Yeah, 100%.
that's folklore for sure. Margaret's
You
like,
just say I
hate you
heard that on a
guys.
podcast because of validity.
Yeah, you can just say you heard it on a
Nephilim love
podcast.
sports.
No one will ever find it. No one will ever find it. All right.
all of the sports at one time.
So I'm excited about this next part. Centaurs?
Oh yeah, so I
Tell me
was
about the centaurs.
Yeah, I was doing research for like another project, and I found this story about these mighty men called Lapiths, and how they have this ongoing war with these centaurs, and so it's depicted on like a lot of different like reliefs, and like I think it's even depicted on like the Parthenon. It's depicted on like I don't know, just like big funerary kind of situations. So it's a story about how these, well, I guess I'll just start with like the origin of who the Lapiths are, and then the centaurs as well. So in this specifics, because there's like different versions of the same story, but I'll go with this version. So in this story, Piratus, who is a Lapith, and the Lapiths are like these mighty strong men. He has a mortal mother, and Zeus is his father. And then centaurs were the union of the Lapith Ixion and the cloud nymph Nephiles. And they have this like big battle where at the wedding of Piratus and Hippodamia, who is descended from the centaurs. So the centaurs have alcohol and they get really rowdy, and so they try and kidnap Hippodamia, and so it turns into this like big metaphor where the Lapiths and the centaurs are fighting, and it's this metaphor for man's animalistic tendencies as represented by the centaurs warring with the desire to be civilized, so represented by the Lapiths. And I don't know if this is like too out there, but in my mind this is kind of shows like the lack of like, I guess, organization that maybe these fallen angels have in creating Nephilim. Like they're warring within each other, you know? So I don't know if that's like connected or not, but I thought it was interesting. And then the whole like technology thing, like Lapiths are said to have created like the horse bit. So I don't know, just thought it was something curious, and it keeps like showing up as like a theme, but yeah.
Well, it makes sense because so many of like ancient like civilizations have gods that are half human, half some sort of animal. You know what I mean? The chimera. So
yeah.
I also I don't know.
I mean, if you look at the Egyptian pantheon, there's so many
Oh yeah.
that are part human, part whatever animal.
Right. And they're always way bigger. They're giants. Sorry. Sorry.
No, that is a really interesting point, though.
They are huge. They are huge. But like one of the podcasts we were listening to, they mentioned mentioned a story about centaurs.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "We had a guy in here talking about centaurs one time. I have to find it and listen to it because I don't know."
And it was like recent. It was like in the 1800s.
Yeah, it's like in the 1800s, and like I don't know. Later on, when we get to like the theories part, I definitely think the Nephilim have something to do with cryptids.
Yeah.
I definitely do, and I think Matt agrees with me on that one.